finally, after all this buildup, we're going to talk about paying off your actual debt. There are a lot of ways to do this, but we suggest you start by focusing on the debt with the smallest balance first. This is what's typically known as the debt snowball method. We want to gain some momentum by eliminating one debt entirely. And obviously, the smallest debt is going to be the quickest one to knock out. So let's say these are my debt payments for this month. A $50 credit card payment, a $200 car loan, and a $250 student loan. Let's say that after covering my immediate obligations and non-monthly expenses, that I have an extra $150 to send towards debt. Using the debt snowball method, I'm going to change my $50 credit card payment into a $200 payment, while still maintaining my minimum payments on my other debts, because remember, those are part of my immediate obligations. Now eventually, I'm going to knock out that credit card debt, which means I've just freed up $200 that I can now shovel on top of my car loan. So I just doubled my payment, meaning I'm now paying off that car twice as fast. Now imagine how amazing it's going to feel when I not only pay off my car, but magically turn my $250 student loan payment into a $650 payment. I'm now paying off that debt at almost triple my original speed. So you can see why we get pretty pumped about this method. It just feels good. But like I said, there are other ways to approach your debt, and the method you choose should ultimately depend on what works best for your situation and your personality. Maybe you're more comfortable with tackling the highest interest rate first, otherwise known as the debt avalanche method. Or maybe you want to start with the debt you really, really hate. I like to call this the anger method. Maybe you're still paying off the car that your ex is currently driving. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to wait on that. You go ahead and crush that debt first, and we'll figure out how to proceed from there. Whether you're snowballing, avalanching, or Hulk smashing, having a plan in place can have a massive impact. Just seeing the path out of debt can be enough to make you feel hopeful, maybe even excited about paying it off. And who knows, you might find yourself being even more aggressive than you thought you could be. Now, let's fast forward. You've paid off that first debt using the method you chose. First of all, you should celebrate that. The end zone may still be a long way off, but you just made a first down, and that is huge. But just like any football team that's just made a first down, you'll want to pause here and figure out what the next best move is. Now that you're no longer paying that one debt, you just freed up some cash. So where are you going to put it next? Yeah, the method says to throw it on to another debt, but maybe you've noticed that your car is getting pretty janky and probably needs a repair. Or 12. Remember, you don't want to be caught without cash to cover a car repair and have that debt you just knocked out waltz right back into your life. So it's probably worth taking the financial detour to make sure the car can get you to work. Or maybe you push ahead with debt pay down and start biking to work. The point is, you should be intentional with your money and consider all your options with an open mind before calling that next play. Before you paid off that debt, you didn't have a choice. You had an obligation to at least make the minimum payment. Now, that's gone, and you've got something way better. Options. You're in control. If there's something that's a higher priority in your life than making extra payments towards your debt, that's okay. Whether you're well into your debt paydown or just starting, it always comes back to the same question. What does this money need to do before more money arrives? So be sure to reassess your plan every time you pay off a debt. After you celebrate, of course.